they did some fraud with my contract, and I told them I was going to sue them, and they said that I was trying to extort them.
And I started making not as much money as I was before. I got deeper into a depression.
When I'm done with this conversation, you'll never say you're a hustler again.
Welcome to Beyond Her Hustle, the podcast where we empower ambitious women to redefine success, find healing, and create a life of abundance beyond the hustle. Join me as we explore topics like financial literacy, healing, well-being, relationships, personal and career development, and holistic success. Get ready to break free from the hustle and step into a world of limitless possibilities. I am your host, Sierra Nicole. Let's embark on this transformative journey together. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Her Hustle. And today, you guys, I have a guest who is very near and dear to my heart. She was one of my first guests back in 2019 when I first started the podcast and interviews. And ever since then, we've built just an amazing friendship. And she's one of the people that I look up to. And so I'm just so excited to bring her on to the platform today with Beyond Her Hustle. So Neko Cheri, how are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you. That was so sweet. Thank you.
I'm really excited to have you. Like I said, you were one of my first guests back in 2019 when I
Right.
first started getting into like the podcast space. And I remember I was so scared to send you a DM. I was like, she's gonna ignore me.
That's warranted.
I was like, she's not gonna answer, or she's gonna think I just want something from her. But I remember you actually responded and you were like, what can I get in exchange for doing this? And that moment right there, I think that's all something that's always going to stick with me, because that was really a mindset shift that you provided for me, because I was very, very early on in like the entrepreneur space. And so when you
Right.
asked me that question, I was like, okay, yeah, you definitely set the tone as far as like learning how to build relationships with people.
Right. And it's funny because I'm still like that. Right. I just always believe in fair exchange, no robbery. And when people approach me to work with them or to do something with them, they always approach me from an angle of what I can do for them. And it's so lopsided. And when I asked you that, I really wasn't expecting anything in return. I just want to see what type of mentality you had around being a person who would be able to reciprocate. And you came through. I was like, okay, I see you, youngster.
And I know that we have been building a relationship ever since.
Right.
For the people that are new to my platform on Beyond Our Hustle, I obviously know who Neko Cheri is, but tell them, like, who is Neko Cheri?
So I've been a lot of different things to a lot of different people. First and foremost, I am an influencer. I influence, I guess you could say a mentor. I'm a mother, I'm a daughter. Like, I'm a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But one thing in particular about me is I am authentic.
Yes.
So in whatever space that I thrive in, I've been in credit, I've been in business, I've been in coaching, I've been in investing, I've been a real estate agent, I've been in corporate America, I've been in so many different areas. But one thing for certain that never changes about me is authenticity. So exactly what you see is exactly what you're going to get with me.
And that's a fact, because like I said, I've known you for a while now. Sometimes it's hard when you meet people that you knew online and it's like they're completely different people. But you, like you said, what you see is definitely what you get. And it's funny because sometimes I'll hear, you talk about different stories on your live and you'll say how people think that you're so mean. But it's like, you're really one of the nicest people that I've ever met. So I don't get that perception. Like, why do you think that people perceive that based on your social media presence?
Because people consider truth to be mean, right? They rather have a sweet lie than, the harsh truth. And, as the saying goes, a lie can travel the world three times before the truth gets its shoes on. People are uncomfortable with the truth. And that's something that I represent, even if it's an ugly truth, even if it's the harsh truth or harsh reality. I like to stick to that, even when it comes to myself, right? It's not that I'm not flawed. It's just that I prefer to operate in my truth. And people are still to this day uncomfortable with that. right? That's why they fall victim to so many things that happen on social media. Scam, 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 but they really scamming themselves because they want to believe the lies that are being told to them. And I think I was saying yesterday, I was talking to a friend of mine and she said to me, she said, why do you think that people don't want to believe like some of the things that these, influencers have done? And it's obvious that they're lying. I said, well, to me, they don't want to accept that because it tells the truth about them. Because if they're living vicariously through this person and they believe that all of these things can be attained just with the snap of a finger, if they remove that illusion about that person, they then remove the illusion about themselves. And then then when they're looking at the situation, it makes it more difficult for them to even see themselves in that position now. Like if I can't see her in that position, how the hell am I gonna see myself there? So they'd rather believe the illusion, they'd rather believe the delusion in order for their own ego to have some type of satisfaction in it.
So it's like they're trying to hold on to a false reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You see it, you literally see it every single day on social media.
Yes. I've been caught up. I got caught up years ago with this Bitcoin Ponzi scheme, and I lost over $20,000. I mean, I've been caught up in so many. Now that I think about it, I've been caught up in so many schemes, investing in different people's company with zero return, despite all the promises and the success that they've had. Haven't seen a dollar or a dime back from that. Investing in real estate projects, tens of thousands of dollars with zero return. Investing in these high profile coaches, tens of thousands of dollars with zero return. I mean, if I were to add it up, it's well over 100 grand in cash investments. So it's always odd to me when people say, no, you're not investing in your business. No, I'm tired of investing in people who aren't what they say they are. But it's like, how do you know when they're saying, here's a receipt, here's a receipt, here's a receipt? It's like very difficult to vet these situations, which is why I'm building my directory, by the way. Shameless plug.
Oh yeah, plug it in and we'll drop it in the description too,
Okay.
so that they can access that, because you're right, it is very challenging to find reputable people online. And I always
Mhm.
wonder why, because like you said, they have the receipts. Because I've been suckered into many times to programs where they have the receipts, they seem like they have the testimonials, the reviews. People are following them, but then as soon as we invest our money, you realize that none of that is really what they said it was.
So here's a couple of different things, and I'm gonna explain it to you as best I can, but I have an answer. So you ever go to Amazon and you look at a product and you're like, let me go to the reviews. So you go to reviews, like today is Amazon Prime Day. I was excited. I didn't even know. I just went to do my regular shopping and was like, ooh, a discount. So the first thing that you do when you go to Amazon Prime is you go to the reviews. And sometimes I will look at a person wearing a product or something, and I will say, there's no way that I would give this 5 stars based on what I'm seeing this person with. Or even a better one is Fiverr. Like people are like, oh, this is the most amazing work. And then you see the work and you're like, I would have rated that a 2. But that person rated it a 5. And that could really be a 5 to them based on their experiences. But based on your experiences and expectations, that's a 2. You get what I'm saying? So it's not that all the reviews are fake, some are. It's the person who's receiving the information and where their measuring stick is of what the expectation is. So if you have people who expect a lot less, then when you give them a little bit, it's going to seem like a lot. But people like us who are, basically veterans, we expect a lot more. So we're actually expecting what you said, not what you're going to actually get. That's the thing, right? I did a video yesterday about 2 influencers that are dealing with this situation right now. And when I tell you, I tell people I don't want to hear no gossip. Don't send me anything about what she responded to. I don't care. It don't matter because she can't do nothing with me no way. And I meant that. But the other thing is that I did get a bunch of inbox messages of people saying that the one that I said I disliked, doctor, they were saying she scammed me. And person after person is sending me messages saying she scammed me too. I just never said anything because it's the cost of doing business. So To your point, what happens is that when people are burned, they typically are quiet about it. They're typically like all the people that I have been done wrong by, even the $25,000 investment that I never got a penny out of. I never said one word about, I talk about the situation, but I never said one word about the person who took the money and I got nothing in return. I never mentioned his name. And a lot of times we do that. And I don't know why that is. And maybe it's to avoid drama or, conflict or things like that. But most people do not tell when they have been scammed. For me, if anyone feels that I did them wrong, I wish they would come to me so that I could rectify the situation. But some people just don't care. Like their whole game is to get you in,
Right.
especially with these new memberships that are getting ready to start. Oh, baby. Good luck out there, y'all.
If you are enjoying this type of content from Beyond Her Hustle, make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com and join our growing community. There you can find additional resources, exclusive trainings, workshops, and so much more within our community. So make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com. You know, that's really interesting because you're right. And I know that you're right because I do the same thing where there's been a lot of times where I've lost thousands of dollars or I've been wronged in, say, like a business partnership, but I won't actually come out and say it. I won't even hardly talk about the situation. And so we're not really getting the full story about anybody.
Ever.
Mm,
Self included.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure there are people who are unhappy with me, and I personally wish they would tell me, honestly, right? I wish they would. And sometimes I'm so concerned with a person's feeling or outcome, I'll call them and check in with them, like because like their energy had changed towards me, and I'll say, hey, what's going on? And sometimes again, it's what the expectation of what they wanted doesn't match what they get. But in the defense of some coaches, some. So I have had situations where I ask a person, what is it that you want from me? They will say A, but the truth of the matter is they really want B. They're not even sure what they want coming into the situation. To alleviate that, now I have put barriers in place. Like you have to go through a whole Q&A. You have to answer the questions so that whenever the expectation that you say that you actually say you want, I'm going to make sure that you meet that so that you can never say that I didn't get you where you want to go. They'll say, "Oh, I just want to learn from you. I just want to be around you. I just want to get the game from me." Okay, I give them the game, but what they really wanted was for me to help them make a significant amount of money, but they weren't capable of doing the work that it takes to make a significant amount of money.
Mm.
That has happened too. But you have to match with who you match with. But again, there's too many coaches that took a coaching program on how to teach a coaching program to make money and not actually solve a problem for anybody.
And that's true. It's just like a never ending cycle of coaches coaching coaches.
To coach
Yes.
on how to get clients and never how to actually do any work.
Mm. And why do you think people are so afraid to come out and speak about, when they're done wrong? Because I know with the Ashley Grayson situation, I posted about it on my page, but a lot of people are saying that, you're a hater if you come out and say that you feel like you've been scammed or you feel like you didn't get your money's worth or maybe you just didn't get anything delivered at all. You are usually looked at as someone who's hating on their success.
Well, a couple of things is that we live in a society right now, especially with social media, where there's a lot of glorifying of people and putting them on a pedestal and idolism. Okay. So because a person looks at a person as being an idol, like I said, if they fail, I fail. So to me, it's not that they really actually feel like you're a hater, always, sometimes. But to me, it's like if you take that away from me, what will I have? If she's really a fraud, what does that say about me? If she's really a fraud, how am I ever going to win? And I really think it's more self-reflective, and maybe some people don't realize it, especially the ones that say that you're hating without actually listening to what actually is going on. Because there is hating, and then there is this is my truth.
And I think maybe another part of that too is people are so quick to throw the, defamation of character lawsuit out, and so I wonder if people are scared to get hit with something like that.
Don't worry about it.
Mm.
What people need to start doing is reading and going to a dictionary and understanding what defamation actually means. My opinion of you is not defamation, and me telling what you did to me is not defamation.
Mm.
If I tell what you did to me, especially if I could document that, then you have the problem, not me. I actually went through that with the Porsche dealership. The dealership was saying you're scamming us. You're what? No, he didn't say scammy. Extorting. They did some fraud with my contract, and I told them I was going to sue them, and they said that I was trying to extort them. And so I went to Chat GPT. I said, Chat, write me up a defamation of character letter. Chat was like, I got you, Nico. Boop, 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 boop. They ain't never mentioned it again. They never said the word extortion again.
Mm.
And I sent that letter to them to warn them about, you know, what they were saying about my character, because they actually were defaming me, because you are allowed to sue someone for damages on things that they've actually done to you that are fraud or illegal. So the damages that I was asking for wasn't extortion, it was damages that are due to me for the fraud that you committed. So people just need to read, they need to comprehend, and they need to understand. And when they lack understanding, seek counsel or seek Chat GPT.
Yeah, Chat GPT is that girl is what they say because
That girl.
you could do
Chat is
anything.
the real it girl right now.
Yes.
It's similar to a Google review. Is a Google review considered defamation of character?
No.
It's not. You get to state your experience.
And that's true. And I think that the line is very blurred with that because, like you said, people don't read, they don't look up the actual definition of what
Right.
defamation really is. I think that more people do need to actually start speaking up when it comes to, being wronged by certain people of influence, because I think it'll just create a better industry overall as far as like the online coaching space.
Right. And not just coaching, like every freaking thing, like with my directory that I'm building, one of the reasons that I'm building it is for it to have a vetting process. And I even have the vendors that have signed on with me to be in the directory. They have to sign a disclosure that says that if they have a dispute with the client over money and the client can prove that they were done wrong, they are to immediately return their money.
Mm.
Number one. Also, there's a rating system. So I told them if you fall below 4 stars, you will be immediately kicked off my platform, because I will not allow you to do bad business. So that way I elevate a couple of different things. My platform is elevated because people have to prove that they were done wrong. You can't just, get mad at a person. Oh, they promised me a dozen cupcakes, but I only got 12. I saw that complaint one time.
Mm.
A person literally found a complaint against someone and said, I ordered a dozen, but she gave me 12 and I've been cheated. You
Mm-mm.
get what I'm saying?
Right.
So I want to make sure that on both sides that people are protected. I want to make sure that the vendor is protected and that the consumer is protected. And I just don't think there's anything out there that actually does that. And so there's no protection against these coaches. They can make wild claims that we know that are lies. We know that people will literally get online and break down and cry, get right off the line and go, you know what I mean? Like it just the acting, like it's just wild to me that people buy into that. And again, I really believe that they believe that if they don't believe in this, then they can't believe in themselves. So what's happening is there's a lot of insecurity out here, a lot of insecurity, and a lack of emotional intelligence on people.
Mm. That's true. That's why a lot of influencers have been able to be wildly successful financially off
Right.
of people that are very insecure and, like you said, not
Right.
as emotionally intelligent. But I have noticed over the last maybe like 12 months or so that there has been a bit of a shift in the influencer market. Do
Mhm.
you think that the influencer, the aesthetic and, with the fancy cars and houses, like that influencer aesthetic, do you think that era is ending?
It'll never end.
Mm.
And the reason why it will never end is because the Black community in particular is so poor minded, just like Jordans ain't gonna never end. Just like, bad credit ain't gonna never end. Just like spending your bill money just to go on vacation will never end. Right? These things are never gonna go away. So you're always gonna have a market of people where you can sell them stuff
Mm.
that they'll never have.
Mm.
Okay. So no, I don't think it's gonna end. However, I think that there is going to be a large fraction of individuals who do have either emotional intelligence, are exhausted of these courses and these fly by night. I stopped doing courses last year, and I said the era of courses has ended. The new era is memberships. Well, that's dead too. And I have a lot to say about that, but I won't. I tried memberships, and memberships are effective in the beginning, but they are a lot of work for what you're able to receive as the business owner. Unless you have a team that's running this like a actual machine, it's not going to work. So the era of the courses is out. The era of the membership, they're going to test it out. They're going to find out that that is out. What is now ushering in is where, what's old is going to become new again. And Mark Coley, my bestie, who's a world renowned speaker, says that all the time. Nico, what's old is now new. And all we have to do is go back to what we used to do. So, what we used to do is meet people in person. I'm not talking about these big conferences with 36,000 speakers. It's so much overwhelming information that you don't even walk away with anything. I just had a women's brunch that I thought was more impactful than anything because it was a small group of women. It was a very intimate setting. So retreats are going to start being big again, right? My best friend is on a retreat right now, and I think it was like $8,000 a person. People will gladly pay that. I got to pull $500 out of them to do certain things, but they'll get it later on.
Right.
Retreats are going to be come back in because people want the intimacy. They also want to feel like they got their money's worth. So whether your course or information is going to be what it is, at least if they're on a retreat, they get a vacation,
Right. Right.
right? They get to network, they get to be around other women. So there's other things that I personally feel are going to be coming to the forefront. I'm going to start doing retreats also for the women in my business directory because what I have noticed is that like minded people want to be around like minded people. They want to be in the same environments. They want to be in the same space. They want to learn and grow from one another as well. So if you're able to curate a space like that, then you're winning. But these big mega conferences and the who's who or the who, first of all, we only seeing the same seven goddamn people
Yeah.
day in and day out, and I'm exhausted. I want the leaders of the new school. Where's faces I ain't
Right.
seen? Where's information I ain't heard? Give me somebody new, please. I'm begging you. It's just going to start to die out, and people are going to want something real. People going back to organic foods, people going back to exercise, people going back to getting offline, unplugging, and going outside. So if you can create or curate an experience where you can have some validity around a brand, other than how it look aesthetically and how much money they have, if you can really curate an experience for an individual where they actually feel valued and feel like they're getting some value, then you'll be winning in this space. But all these coaching programs, oh, I got a coaching program where I'm going to get 10,000 people for $10 a month. It ain't going to last. You got about 90 days and it's over. People are tired. They don't want another goddamn app. They don't want a thread, they don't want a needle, and they don't want a spool. They don't want nothing else. They don't want nothing else. They just want human engagement and interaction. They want to get what they paid for.
People are tired. They are very tired. And I'm tired, and that's a big reason why I even started Beyond Her Hustle, to be able to have conversations like these, but also to be able to show people that there is life outside of launching courses and creating coaching programs because, like you said, people are
Right.
tired. And I think that a lot of influencers or content creators, I think they're tired as well because it's like offer after offer after offer. That's all that we're doing is trying to launch offers to keep our
Mhm.
income at a certain level. Because I know I got stuck in that cycle where it's like I was making a certain amount of money and now I have to keep making that money to keep up with this lifestyle that I was trying to portray. And so that gets
Right.
tired as an influencer. And I know that you had a period
Mhm.
where you actually left social media for a little while.
Sure. Yeah, I basically was having a nervous breakdown. Like it was so mentally exhausting. Like I was in tears and people were it was so wild. So I took a break for about 6 months. I was still online, but I just really wasn't online. It was so refreshing, and that's how I got to where I am now, where I'm able to actually create quality experiences and products for people. Like I removed what people saw and what they thought and started putting things into place based on what I thought and I felt and what type of experience would I want to have, and then create that for other people, you know? So like when I just did my women's brunch, I was like, okay, what would I want the brunch to look like? How would I want everything to be? And I created that for the ladies, and when they walked into the room, they were like, what? They were blown away. Because again, remember that scale of 1 to 5? I'm the woman that if it's a 5, you could trust it. It's probably gonna be a 10 to you, because I like incredible, amazing experiences and things, and so I wanted to give that to those women, and then I started. I said, "Hey, you guys, I'm gonna do another event next year." And they were like, no, do it now. I'm like, ooh, okay, I'm down. So I'm like, okay, I'll do another event in November. And I've almost already sold out of my early bird tickets. I've never even offered an event this early. I don't even know how to react. I'm used to doing things, 30 days, beforehand.
Right.
So I'm changing the way that I do business. I'm no longer in hustle mode. I've moved from being a perpetual hustler to being a businesswoman, and so my depth of thinking has shifted from how much money can I make today, whereas how much of an impact can I make tomorrow. And that's the significant difference between being a hustler and also being a businesswoman. And even when I did my brunch, I talked to the ladies. I said, how many of you are hustlers? Almost everybody raised their hand. My mother raised both hands like this. I said, girl, put your hands down. Over here embarrassing me. And so when they all raised their hands, I said, when I'm done with this conversation, you'll never say you're a hustler again. Because when you look up the word hustle, especially the verb adjective of it, it's like to get something from somebody, to hurry up, you rushing. Like, is that how you want business to be? You want to be like me, having nervous breakdowns in front of thousands of people? That's what you want? Like, if you doing business causes you to cry or break down or stress or not be able to spend time with your family, or to always have to have something going, or have to dress a certain kind of way, look a certain kind of way, constantly, then you're doing it wrong. And I'm just the type of woman who like aesthetics, so I always like to have a certain type of appearance. That's my personality. Being in a position where you feel like you can't even show up for yourself because you have created a certain image that doesn't allow you to be yourself, I think that's the danger. Are we ever going to get away from the money, 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 money? Just never. We don't have enough finances in our community or enough access to it for people to stop focusing on it that much for that to ever go away. However, we are in the age of Aquarius, and I will keep saying this so people get it. We are in the age of Aquarius, which is the age of the humanitarian. And so we're going to have an age where people start to have more of a spiritual awakening. I've even gone back to church. I ain't been to church on my own in 10 years. I used to go visit with a friend of mine from time to time. But I personally haven't walked into a church in 10 years on my own accord. And I just started going back, not because I want to be the super Christian of the United States of America. It's because I need some peace and some spiritual grounding. And the peace is not the price, it's not worth the price of what I was paying in my time and my energy and the things that were coming to me. It's just not worth it. I can build a multi-million-dollar business based on impact and not influence. I can do that.
I think a lot of people think that impact and influence are the same thing.
If I were to really think about the difference between impact and influence, I would look at influence like this. Like, I can influence you to do drugs. I can influence you to do something negative. I can influence you to do something that's not healthy for you at all, which is what's literally happening out here, right? You have people doing the most outrageous things and dying. You have people doing these challenges on TikTok and dying. That's influence. However, when I impact your life, I change your life for the better. I'm impactful. I add meaning and value and substance to you. That's the difference to me. You can be influenced to do anything, but impact comes with responsibility and a different type of awareness, right? So I would rather be an impactor than an influencer
I love
all day.
I love that. I feel like I need a shirt with that on it.
Yeah, impact versus influence. I did a speech on it last year. I was on the stage and I literally started crying out the blue, like, I because I said I realized that I was leading people down the wrong path. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. I have a quirky personality. I'm funny and humorous and stuff. But a lot of the things that I was saying and doing were very negative, and I was influencing people in the wrong way. I wasn't being impactful at all.
And it takes a lot of self awareness to even realize that. And I feel like
Right.
that's a similar mindset shift that I've gone through recently, which with Beyond Her Hustle is kind of me like documenting my process of transitioning from, focusing on influence and hustle and now, transitioning more into I want to have a bigger impact on people. How did you make that switch as far as like getting out of hustle mode? Because that's something that I'm still struggling with.
So a couple of things about hustle mode. Usually people are in hustle mode because they're like focused on the money and not the impact. Right. So when you switch your focus from money to impact, the hustle just start leaving your body because you're not hurrying up to get to nothing. You don't have to the hustle and the bustle, right? So the hustle starts to leave your body when you start focusing more on impact. When you start to really want to have longevity for your business and things like that, hustle is not sustainable, right? Because hustle requires speed, right? So really it's the difference between a marathon and a sprint. A hustle is a sprint. I gotta hurry up and get to the finish line. I want it. Hurry up. You gotta keep, running these sprints, and it's exhausting. But more importantly than that, when you're doing a sprint, you can only go a short distance. When you're running a marathon, you can go the distance. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? You can go the distance. So business is going the distance. Business is Walmart. Business has depth. Business is Nike. Business can run whether you're there or not. That's business. That's impact, right? Long after the owners of Nike are long gone in their graves, you're not going to know it because that Jordan 11 is still going to drop.
Right.
That's business. But when you're hustling, if you get sick, there's no launch because you can't do the videos. You can't show up. You can't be on social media. That's hustling. If you can't come off of social media, that's hustling. You may have a business around your hustle, but you still have to hustle. You don't have any type of sustainability outside of that.
And that's one hard lesson that I learned with having a business that not I felt like I didn't really build a business, but I built a hustle on social media for so long to
Hmm.
where, like I said, if I don't post today, like I don't make money. That's where I was at. And that became so tiring to where I was at a point where it's like I'm about to delete all my social media and just be done.
Woo! Woo! I'm on the verge.
Hmm.
I'm on the verge.
That was me. That was me
I'm literally on
recently.
the verge.
Yeah. That was me. And so, really, just understanding how to get out of that hustle mode, I think, is so important. One thing that I've realized is that I was watching the wrong people, thinking that they were
Mm.
building a business. And so I was trying to follow what they were doing, and
Right.
I just got sucked in, you know?
Right.
If you are enjoying this type of content from Beyond Her Hustle, make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com and join our growing community. There you can find additional resources, exclusive trainings, workshops, and so much more within our community. So make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com.
One thing about me that I am very proud of is that I never based my brand or anything that I did off of anything that I saw. Everything that I did, actually, people modeled me,
Yeah.
to be honest with you. But I didn't realize I was an influencer. I didn't realize, I thought I was just being myself online, right? And it just grew into something that I wasn't even aware of. When it started to get sticky, I kind of start to pull back a little bit because I didn't like the attention and the negativity, all the stuff that came with it, because I just don't like drama and stuff like that. People don't realize that I'm such an introvert because of how my personality is, but they don't realize there's no one in the room with me right now, right? So I can be lively because it's just me and my own energy. But when I'm in a room full of people that I don't know, I'm probably very, very quiet unless I know someone there. I am probably going to turn my page private for a while I focus on and only share the things that are very important to me, and only share, my podcast series, only share, things related to my business directory, only share those things. And I don't care who falls off. Because for me, I would rather have 5,000 hardcore Neko fanatics who believe in me and who are ready for an elevation in their life than to have 143,000 people following me and waiting for me to say something that's going to be salacious or demeaning or demoralizing to somebody else. They can go. All of them. Because I am no longer concerned with the metrics. That's what I can say I was caught up in. Oh yeah, yeah, I got 5,000 shares, 7,000 shares on this post. I don't care about the metrics anymore. I just, it doesn't mean anything to me anymore. And it could be, I turned 50, a few months ago, and I just, I don't know, something in me just started to want to do things different, and I cared a lot less about things that I cared a lot about before. A lot less. And I see people ramping up to get to places that I've already evolved from. They'll understand later. But I feel like we're ahead of the game by having this realization
I agree because I think, like you said, they're going to realize later because it's not something that's sustainable with
at all.
running a not only a business but running your life like that based on social media is not sustainable at all.
And the mental health aspect of it, which no one ever talks about, is freaking crushing. When I talked about the Ashley Grace and everybody got on me, it's not Max and Gil. Okay, look, I don't know who the hell it is, but the mental health aspects of it, I think both those women suffer from something, because you can't operate like that consistently without something in you breaking down. I know this personally, okay? All of that attention, the money, everything, it just it does something to your psyche. And if you're not stable or you have some type of childhood trauma, all of that mess shows up in how you showing up online all the time consistently. And at some point it breaks. At some point it's just going to break. And I think that a lot of influencers, that's about to happen for a lot of people. We're in the age of Aquarius, the humanitarians. The bottom is going to rise to the top, and the top is going to fall. It's inevitable. It's just the nature of the law. What goes up must come down. That's not my law. That is the law, right? So what goes up must come down, and when that comes down, what's down is going to come up. And so as we move into this new season, the riding high, the house, this and that and all that, that you know the videos that get the most views? Videos where women are cleaning their houses, cooking food, taking care of their families, Those videos are getting way more traction than, hey, look at my car. Washing dishes.
Yeah.
I know more people getting views for cleaning their kitchen than women shaking their
Hmm.
butts. Speaking of butts, BBLs is going out of style. I missed it. So everything is transitioning. Like Mark said, what's old is now becoming new again. So what's real is what's going to be up next. And I think what's real is going to dominate the space.
And I'm excited for that, honestly, because like I
Hmm.
said, I feel like I got really sucked into the whole influencer realm, and it did take a really hard toll on my own mental health, where I felt like early this year and most of last year, I fell into a very deep depression where I had a very hard
Hmm.
time because my worth was based on how many likes I got, how many sales I was able
Hmm.
to make in a day, how many shares, how
Right.
many views.
Right.
And so when you know how the algorithm goes sometimes where I started to not get as many views and shares, I started to get depressed. I started making not as much money as I was before. I got deeper into a
Hmm.
depression. So then I started eating for comfort and I started gaining a ton of weight, and it was just like a
Hmm.
domino effect, because I
Hmm.
got so sucked into the idea of being this influencer and being someone that everybody looked up to.
Right. Right. I look, I can't say that I fell into a depression. I had a lot of different things going on. Um, I know I wasn't happy about myself and how I was showing up. Again, I can't say if it was depression or not, and I didn't get diagnosed or anything like that, but there probably was bouts of it, maybe, because I was going through a transition for sure. But I don't know if it was menopause either. It was a lot of stuff going on. My cycle stopped. Like, it's just a lot going on when you turning 50. So I wasn't sure if I was just like, coming into this new woman. I had a breakup. Like, it was so much going on. I can't even pinpoint one thing. So, I for sure was in a transition. And on the other side of things, I'm really happy with who I'm becoming as a woman. I lost 10 pounds, my dang self. My conversation with my friends has changed. How I'm like restructuring my platform behind the scenes. I'm not totally done yet. People are going to be surprised when they see how things are going to go from here on out. Again, I'd rather have 5,000 strong than 140,000 weak.
Mm,
I just don't care anymore. Y'all can go. All I need is 5,000. That's all I need. I need 5,000. If I hit a million, cool. If it's a strong million. I don't want weak people around me. I don't want people around me who have the same mentality that I'm walking away from. I don't want any of that in my space. And I'm only connected with people who are like that. And actually I was telling someone the other day, it's really a season, if you want me to be all the way real, it's the season for women, and not just women but black women in particular. So if you was a black woman, honey, congratulations. Congratulations, it's your time. For whatever reason, all of my friends are getting, one of my friends was telling me that I'm more like a mentor to her in some ways. And she was like, you encouraged me, to walk away from this job, not walk away from this job, I'm sorry, go apply for this job that was paying double what I was used to making. She was like, I had only made, I think she said 45,000 or 50,000 a year, and she doubled her salary on the next job that she got.
mm,
Well, guess what? Just what, last week, she called me and she said, guess what, Nico? Another job has contacted me, a recruiter contacted me, offering me 170,000.
wow.
So when you start to make the shift start working with you. It starts working with you. When you start moving right, it'll start moving right. That's why don't worry about how much, don't worry about the money. Just set up a plan for yourself to make sure your bills are paid. Don't worry about the money. But if you focus on the right things and things that you're supposed to focus on, you'll go from $45,000 a year to people offering you $170,000, and
Ooh,
you turning it down because you got an even better opportunity coming.
mm, that's amazing.
Hmm. It's incredible. And that's not the only person. It's so many people in my circle that things like that are happening for. So many. It's the season.
It is, but I think also too with that is learning how to be okay with letting go of like that fast, fast results, fast money so that you can walk into this season of even larger success, even if it maybe took a little bit longer. I think that part of like letting go is what's hardest. I know it's been challenging for me for sure with like being able to let go, even though I know something is much greater, that's coming.
Here's the thing that I told the women in my private group the other day, yesterday actually, on my way to church. I said, listen, was it yesterday? Oh, that was Monday, Sunday. I said, a lot of you guys aren't winning because you're doing what you want to do instead of what you have to do. There's going to be times where you have to do what you have to do and not what you want to do. Y'all want to be in your passion and you only want to do the things you like instead of operating with your God-given talent. What is your God-given talent? Because you walk away from, listen to what I'm saying now. You walk away from your God-given talent to do what you want to do and then pray to God to help you make this thing work.
Whew.
He didn't give you that thing. You gave you that thing. So you figure it out. But if you operate in your God given talent, then the things that you want and desire are going to come to you. You can't walk away from what God gave you. And this is not me preaching. I'm just saying, you can't walk away from what God gave you and then be upset with the outcome and then ask him to fix it. Take your butt back over to the God given talent that you have because that's where your growth is. That's where your blessing is. That's where you're going to be exactly who you're supposed to be.
Mm,
But it ain't fun and
mm,
it ain't exciting and it ain't paying the most right now. You got to pay your dues.
mm,
And a lot of people want the outcome without paying their dues. You have to pay your dues, baby.
mm. Somebody passed a collection plate for Nico.
Listen, look, my bestie Mark be like, Nico, sometime I be thinking you a preacher. You holding out? I'm like, I'm a bona fide sinner, but I know some things.
And it's crazy that you say that because I know that we had a conversation yesterday. And then before we got on, I told you I kind of feel like I had the realization that I was trying to walk away from what I know is my gift, because I want to get out of that hustle mentality so bad. I was like, well, let me try to follow or focus more so on something that I'm very passionate about. But literally within this last 24 hours since we talked, I had that realization because of that conversation. Is like, I need to go all in on my gift. And then long term, I know that everything else is going to fall into place with what I want to do, but I'm just not there yet.
Well, and the thing is that this is why having a coach or having a network of women helps, right? I'm not your coach, I'm your friend. However, I'm still able to pour things into you and vice versa, right? So with your talent, with your God-given talent, you just were looking at it through one lens, but I just gave you a different view. So your vantage point, you're still doing the same thing, but now you're doing it this way. And that's where that all I did was help you turn around and look for you to see it. That's it. And sometimes that's what it takes. And you can still operate in your, like, literally your talent.
That's crazy. And like I said, this has literally in real time a realization that I've come to this morning. So it's just a lot to take in, but you're absolutely right.
Hmm.
And that is why it's very important to have women who are around you who can pour into you and vice versa, and not surrounding yourself with people who are not going places that you want to go. I think we get so sucked in with trying to follow the crowd and we realize the crowd is not even going in the direction that I'm trying to go.
I always pride myself on being an outlier. I always pride myself on being an anomaly. I always pride myself on, if the crowd is going left, I'm going right. Like, people don't understand my directory, and it's so funny because I've sold tons of slots in my directory and it ain't even here yet. People are literally buying a directory that they can't even see, touch, or feel because they believe in me. And so my team is working diligently to get it done. But when it is done, the early adapters of my process are going to win because they came in for pennies. They came in for pennies, but they're going to get the benefit as if they paid what everyone else is going to pay. And I like that. I like that a lot. But they're not following the crowd. They're like, this woman has been a trendsetter. This woman has been all of these different things that I've been, and they're coming along for the ride. They're coming along for the ride because they trust me. Because they trust me. And so, and I even said to some people, hey, if the process takes too long, I can give you your money back, because this is not a money grab. This is really me trying to do something for all of us, create a safe space for us to do business with one another, create a micro economy for us, and try to avoid some of the things that we talked about earlier of, the coach that has only the 5-star reviews, and no one ever tells the truth about what's really going on behind the scenes. Now you really know what's going on behind the scenes because you're in the network where everybody has to be accountable for how they show up.
And that accountability is huge.
Huge, huge.
And I think that most people don't really have anyone to hold them accountable. I mean, I guess you can say that you should be holding yourself accountable, but that's challenging sometimes. Like, I think you need somebody who's on the outside looking in to be able to help with that.
Yeah, that's that different lens that we were just talking about. So you were holding yourself accountable, but you were only looking at this thing here. And all I did was take you and turn you and see this thing here. So I didn't necessarily even hold you accountable. I just, you know, my vantage point of what I can see versus what you can see. If you're just looking that way and I'm looking at you, I can see both sides, right? Like when we're watching a scary movie, we say, don't go in the house, because we can see that there's something in the house, but from their vantage point, they can't see that.
Mm.
So that's why having a network of women who can pour into you, that's why having, like, my women's group from Evolution, that's why it's important to have that circle of women around you to nurture you and to show you a different vantage point. Like, even where I'm at now, you think other women haven't poured into me? All of my friends, including you, like, everyone pours into me, like me doing the podcast. Like, you're the reason for this. Like, thank you. Thank you. You pour into me so that I can get my podcast and everything set up, and now I'm gonna actually get the audio and everything together. But you know we pour into each other. You just have to make sure that you have the right people pouring into you, and going on social media and following people because of aesthetics is a very dangerous game to play with yourself.
Because, like you said earlier, people are really scamming themselves when they are only looking at the aesthetics and not really looking at what value someone is actually bringing to your life by consuming their content.
Right. Right. And I'm very careful about what I consume. I was scrolling this morning, 7 o'clock this morning, and I came across a video of, I don't know, her name is Carly Reed or Red. I'm not sure which one it is, but I started to watch about a minute or two of this love and hip hop thing, and it was started to be arguments. I'm like, what the hell am I scrolled past it. As soon as I scrolled past it, it was a paternity court. I'm like, is it his baby? I'm like, what the hell? I scrolled past that. And every video that was in that feed was something negative or related to that. And I said, let me just go on and log out of this completely. And then I logged into one of my books and started listening to my audio book. So what you put in is what comes out, right? So a man thinketh, so he is. So if you're consuming things that make you think negative things, you're seeing negative things, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to start saying negative things, and you're going to start acting in a negative way. So if you're constantly consuming things that are like outside of something that you want to be or do, you'll start to become that. You're literally creating an environment for yourself with your phone, and people don't think so. So, what you're listening to, what you're watching, it creates an environment. So, a man thinketh. How do you think you think? Based on what you see and what you're paying attention to, and
Right.
what you're feeding into.
Some people need to not only go on a physical diet, but they need to go on a mental diet as well, as far as the type of content that they're consuming.
Yeah, like I don't know who all I follow, but I don't follow Shade Room. I don't follow Love and Hip Hop Stars or any of those people. If they're not doing something positive, I'm not following them. And that's another thing. Conversations like this and podcasts like this are getting more traction too. People are also moving away from them relationship conversations. That's starting to die out.
Every viral clip that I see of a podcast, it's always like some toxic, mindset about relationships and dating and who's supposed to sit in the front seat. And it's just, that's the only conversations I feel like that I ever see that really blow up the fastest in the industry.
Yeah, because again, a lie could travel around the world twice before the truth get its shoes on. People are gravitate to negativity, right?
Okay.
This could even be a negative conversation. But as we continue to grow, again, the humanitarian and people is just going to start coming because I'm starting to see more likes and views on people cleaning houses, art. um I just saw a video that a black girl did, and she had like 250,000 likes or something like that. Camping, not
Wow.
going to Dior, not buying a Chanel bag, but camping. Okay, things is changing. Things
And I'm
is
happy for it.
changing. Yes,
I'm happy for it.
yes, yes.
And I'm excited to see just how the kind of the influencer or social media space is going to continue to just transition. Because like you said, we are in what is the age of the Aquarius,
Mm-hmm.
which is much different than the age that we were in over these last few years. And
Of
so I'm just curious,
mm,
right? And so I'm curious to see how people are going to be able to make that shift if they are,
right.
or are people just going to start just like falling off? That's one
Both,
thing I've been curious about.
both.
You think so?
Yep, you're gonna have, like, we're just early adapters like us,
Mhm.
people
Right.
who understand and are making that change right now. And then you're gonna have the follow up crew, and then you're gonna have the people who reject it, and then you're gonna have the people who are gonna stay in the same place, and then you're gonna have the people who are gonna die down and fall off. It's gonna be different waves.
Well, I know anyone who's listening to this, you no longer have the excuse to fall off because now you have at least just a different perspective
Right,
on a lot of what's going on. And it's funny because these are the type of conversations that we have all the time.
right,
And that's why I really wanted to have you on so that I can expose the women that are listening to this different perspective and mindset. Because if you want to be able to grow in this social media space or have just a online business in general, because I don't think that's going away, but
right.
just knowing the real side of the industry and how
Mhm.
to proceed is not only going to save your business, but I think it's going to save you with your mental health, emotional health, and all of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. They're gonna start having to take an inventory of who they are as people.
Mm.
They're not gonna be able to hide behind a Lambo.
You can't hide behind the Lambo
Yeah,
anymore.
can't hide
Because
behind
that was
the Lambo.
me. That was me for so long, where I was trying to hide who I was. I wasn't working on myself, but I was like, well, I have the cars, we got the penthouse, got the money, so that's it. Like I don't have to work on myself. I don't really have to face anything that I was dealing with. Wasn't until I had to strip those things away where I had to face my own problems and my own traumas. And now, with being able to build this platform with Beyond Her Hustle, I realized that there are hundreds of women who feel the same way, but everyone was afraid to actually say it out loud.
Absolutely, it's like that bad review.
Mm, I love that. I love this conversation,
Thank you.
and anyone who's listening, I hope that it has had some impact on you because this is the real side of influencing of social media. And these are the conversations that I feel like we need to have a lot more often. And like I said, just having women around you, like Neko, she's been a huge impact on my life.
Thank you.
Having women around you that can pour into you is so important. And so, Neko, can you talk a little bit about your directory and feminine evolution before we end this session?
Okay, thank you. So, Feminine Evolution is a women's group that I curated really just to have a group of women just to chit chat.
Right.
And I realized that I was doing a disservice to these women because they were mostly just having these negative conversations. And so I shifted the group to have a dynamic of positive input from women. Like they're not even allowed to post anything negative in the group. Discussions that aren't leading women to some form of elevation. And then I have them reading. I have them doing girl meetups. I even have a group in LA that does LA meetups. So it's FELA. So
Mm.
FELA, they go to events together, they go bowling, they go do karaoke together. So I'm really fusing women together in an environment outside of social media, but also on social media. So Feminine Evolution, my group, is really a safe space for women to evolve. The directory came about is because of the nature of social media. A lot of women were coming to my group just to post their businesses or just to market their businesses. Like, this is not a flea market, girl. Like, we're all here to elevate one another. So my frustration turned into a business. I'm like, well, if you want to market your business that bad, clearly you need business. And yes, there are women in this group who will do business with you. So I created the directory idea, and we're building out the directory. What I was going to have at first, when I first took everyone's money, I'm like, I'm not a scammer, I swear. It's only been 30 days, but I was going to just do an Excel spreadsheet, and they were fine with that. But once I got the idea, and I swear it was like, I don't know if God, I don't know where it came from, but just like how we're talking about the pivot, when I thought about it, I'm like, I'm not going to give them an Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to give them an experience. So my guy is building out not just a directory where you can actually leave reviews, where the business can actually market themselves, but we're also going to have a segment on there where you can connect with other business owners in order for you guys to network and come together and really build with one another. I went to go to a spa last week, to a black owned spa, and I was telling her about the directory, and she was like, yes, because I need to connect with other women who have a brick and mortar. We think online, online, online. We forget about that there's other women in our community that need our support, that have buildings. They have restaurants, they have businesses, they have spas, they have studios, they have brick and mortar businesses, and they need support too. It's just not an online community. And so I said, wow, I said, it's ironic that you say that, because another woman where I just had my event at her place is about 15 minutes away from you. You guys are both brick and mortar business owners, and she's in a directory. So I'm really creating this micro economy for our community where you can come to a space and do business with other women like yourself, where you can network with other women like yourself, and you can build with and grow with other women like yourself. So I'm really excited about the launch of that. I'm really excited about my Winter Wonderland experience that we're having November 4th. I hope you can make it.
I know I got it. I definitely put it on my calendar because I saw you post it and I voted
Yeah.
on your poll. I was like, yeah, let me try to plan for that.
Yeah, so it's going to be a beautiful black tie affair, all women. And I just want women, like I was saying earlier, to come into a space where I can treat them the way they need to be treated,
Mm.
where they can be loved on, where they can be poured into, where they can be spoiled. Everyone gets to be a princess that day. Okay. Everybody gets to be a pampered princess that day. So I have the space, the caterer, like I'm just ready for like a really glorious and beautiful affair, and see all of you guys in your beautiful black gowns, because it's going to be incredible.
I love that. And I love how you say that you want to create that experience for
Yeah.
people,
Yeah.
and I think it's more than just trying to sell something, but
Right.
really creating experiences for people that have value is what's key.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Things are changing around here.
They are. So I'm going to put your information down in the description of this podcast. So if you guys want to reach out, join the group. I'm in the group on Facebook and I love it. I love the positive content. It's so different than a lot of some of the other women focused groups on Facebook. And I think it's something that's much needed right now. And again, Neko, I just really appreciate you.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, you've had a huge impact. We've been friends since we did the interview back in 2019, and you've put me on game. You've given me opportunities when no one else believed in me. And so I
Oh,
just want to say, give you your flowers, and I just so appreciate just who you are as a person.
thank you, honey. I appreciate that because I don't be getting my flowers. So I
You
appreciate
don't.
that.
You don't,
Thank
because I know
you.
that there's a lot of, I call them Neko Juniors running around on Facebook, but you've had a huge impact on the industry. And a lot of people will say that you haven't influenced them or impacted them, but they're probably lying because you've been around this space for so long,
Right.
where you're one of like the pioneers. And
I,
so
I,
a
I
lot of
I
people have
agree.
gotten a lot from you. And so I just want to, like I said, give you your flowers while I
Yeah.
can and just
Thank
let you
you.
know that you have had an impact. And I'm just excited to see where our relationship continues to grow and to flourish.
Yeah, we'll be on the stage soon having this conversation. That's where I see it.
Oh, yeah. I
We'll
believe
be
it.
on stage soon where we can have real impact in person because that's what people need. Like women need to be in touch with each other, to be able to hug each other and embrace and, be able to connect in real time.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you for taking time out. I know that you have a busy schedule. And if you are listening to this, make sure you are leaving us a review on the podcast platforms. Or if you want to watch the video version, you can find us on YouTube under Beyond Her Hustle. And again, I want to thank you guys. Also, Neko, where can we find you online?
Neko Cheri everywhere, even on threads. You may not be able to find me on Twitter, but you can find me on threads at Neko Cheri, Nekocheri. And I'm looking forward to connecting with all of you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Beyond Her Hustle, where our focus is helping women like you ditch the hustle culture and start to walk more into their purpose and create a life that they deserve. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to catch you guys on the next one. If you are enjoying this type of content from Beyond Her Hustle, make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com and join our growing community. There you can find additional resources, exclusive trainings, workshops, and so much more within our community. So make sure you go to beyondherhustle.com.